Yeah, that's awesome. Fantastic. Push the pedal, nothing happens. Sweet. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Safety Optional. Today we're taking a break from our V8 swap project to work on my pickup.
Hi.
Like a weekend or two ago, I noticed a problem when I went to start my truck, that the engine started up in low power mode, basically lit mode, and it was telling me that I had all sorts of sensors with issues. So I went and I popped the hood and I looked, and this is what I saw. I saw that insulation pulled off, and it had been tucked up underneath, up here. They had tucked, the insulation was tucked there. So I knew a critter had been under there. And actually, if you look close, you can see right there and right there what looks like little, there, move your head just a little, little paw prints.
I'm pretty sure that's a rat.
There was a pack rat under here. Look, you can see more where it's tucked some insulation.
That's why we have to fix the thing.
Yep. But the real crux of the problem is back there, where the wire for the cam position sensor got chewed through.
That thing is destroyed.
Yep. So today we're going to change it. So far, I have gotten all the wiring disconnected and I've labeled a lot of it to be able to plug it back together. And I've got the intake manifold exposed. You can see all the debris from insulation that's down there on top of it. Just kind of some general dirt and crud down there. The next steps are going to be to disconnect the fuel line and these vacuum lines that go on top of the manifold, and then pull the fuel rails out. Then I'm going to do a little bit of vacuuming. Actually, I'm probably going to do the vacuuming first so I don't get anything down the fuel rail, the fuel injector holes. I think I'm ready to pull this thing off. All right, it's really hard to hear because of the wind, but you can see just down in there all the crap, literally. There's literally poop in there.
Yeah, I can see that.
And then back behind, you can see.
The sun's behind us.
There's the wires.
Oh,
That is where it chewed through and why I had to take the intake manifold off. I'm just going to go on the record right now and say this is about to suck really bad. Why, oh why, Mr. Rat, did you have to chew them off right at the freaking loom? If you really want to appreciate the level of damage that this pack rat did, this insulation used to go all the way across behind here on the firewall. And it chewed through this wire here, which I do not know what it goes to down below. I might figure that out later. And then these three for this sensor. So I'm going to have to patch these together. So I'm going to have to cut open this loom to get to them. First, I think I'm going to tear all this insulation off the firewall. It's not doing any good anymore. It's just going to give more fuel to a pack rat to try to build a house here. So I'm going to rip it out. For the record, this sucks. This is a really uncomfortable position if you couldn't gather that. Alright, so the next order of business is going to be to solder these all back together. And I've actually cut a little piece of black wire here to splice in here to here, just to make it a little bit longer, give me something more to work with. These I'm just going to solder back up directly to it because I think there's enough there to work with. But everything is going to get a little bit of shrink wrap tubing on it to seal it up to keep moisture and everything out of it. So the trick is remembering to put the heat shrink on before you solder it all up. My soldering iron heat up here. Looks like I'm getting there. Go ahead and solder up these wires. It's taking more concentration than I have to spare at the moment. So the only part I lack is this right here. Alright, I think I got them soldered back as good as they're going to go. Time to heat shrink it. One thing that really sucks about this whole deal is I can't just go check out my fix. I can't start the car and run it, because I got to put it completely back together to find out if it worked. So I'm just going to go ahead and button it up and hope for the best. Another little tip about this is get all of your heat shrink in place before you do the first one, because the last thing you want to do is have a piece that's not slid into position and have it get hot while you're heating another one up and it's stuck out of position. So get it all in the right spot before you start doing any of it. I'm going to go ahead, because I only want to do all this work one time, I'm going to go ahead and change this cam position sensor while I'm back here. Got the new part right here. And really all how this works is it's got a Hall effect sensor in here that detects the rotation down inside. 10 millimeter. It's always a 10 millimeter. The real question is, what does it take to get this baby out of here? Alright, I think I had a breakthrough here. Twisted on the thing. Let's see now if she'll come out. Got her twisted loose. I think maybe just the O-ring's holding it in now. If I can pry the sensor up and out of there. I feel it trying to come. Come on. Come on. And it's gone. Always keep a few screwdrivers on hand. There we go. Good heavens. All right. There's the old one. There's the new one. No wonder it's so hard to get out. Look at the rust down there. All right, so I gave this thing a little bit of lube, some fresh motor oil. I just got to press it back down in there. Okay. Well, I really had to work that down in there, but it went. There's absolutely no way that would have worked without taking the intake manifold off. Not in a million years. Some other YouTube videos that show the guy just pulling it out behind the intake manifold. Don't believe you're going to get so easy. Now, you'll notice one other sensor here. The oil pressure sensor. I've changed this before. You can change that pretty easily behind the manifold. You just need a special tool because a normal socket won't fit down in here, so you have to get a thin-walled one. But so this one's already been replaced. I know it's good. So now, hook that bad boy back up. Then we'll tape that up and then put the loom back together. Alright, before I start buttoning this thing back up, there's one thing I want to do. I want to protect all these wires now from chafing again, kind of like they were stock. And I'm going to use this. This is 3M linerless rubber splicing tape. And it's basically like super duper electrical tape, except it's this rubber that stretches and it bonds back to itself. So it'll create a super duper seal around those wires. So give me a minute to wrap them all up. And the trick, I might add, is to stretch it when you put it on. You want to stretch it because that way it'll seal back against itself and form one piece. Alright, so I've got it all taped up now. Got the wire loom put back on. Plug the sensor back in. Bam! We're good to go. Now we're ready to put this engine back together. One thing I want to do before I put the engine back together is inspect and clean, if I need to, this intake manifold. There's a bit of goop and gunk in there. Tightening into that to make sure it doesn't have any leaks. Now to put the gaskets on. Before I touch the gasket too much, I'm going to wipe my hands off so I don't get any grit on that gasket surface. Make sure they're all clean, and then two on. And you can see these are called the cathedral style because the ports and the heads are cathedral shaped like this. Injector goes up here, air goes in the top there. Alright, gaskets are on. Time to drop the intake back onto the engine. Running. No leaks. Thank goodness. Well folks, I am glad to have that done. Today, I pulled the intake manifold off my engine, fixed the wiring that the pack rat chewed through, cleaned up the insulation off the firewall, and then I changed the can position sensor so I won't have to worry about doing that again for a long time. Then I cleared the check engine light codes from the computer, took it for a test drive, and it seems to work. So I would call that mission accomplished until the next problem pops up. There she is, all back together. So if you're new to the channel, I'd like to thank you for tuning into this video. Come check out some of the other stuff that we've got going on. If you're a long-time viewer, I appreciate you sticking with me. As always, thanks for watching.